やるか。
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk. Telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley really...
よいしょ。これ FPP ですね。
As though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
まだ日本語対応してないみたいで、字幕はあるんですけど。
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
これ Pubg の新モードのスタンリーパラブルっていうゲームですね。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
簡単にゲーム説明したら、ずっとナレーションしてくれる人に、こう、指示に従うか従わないかっていうので、こうゲームがだんだん変わっていくっていうのが面白いっていうゲームなんですけど、自分、
This was not the
従
correct
わ
way
ないん
to
で。
the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
自分は入らないですね、これ。
Stanley was so bad at
我が
following
道を行きたいんで。
directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
ちょっとずつこう、
Look, Stanley,
ナ
I
レーション
think
の人が
perhaps we've
怒ってい
gotten
くん
off
で。
on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone
Sure.
you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
降りてみよ
What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
う。PUBG の新モードだと思ってきた人が10人もいるみたいですね。ほんとすいません。
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
なるほど、青か。
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood.
戻されたん
Stanley
だけど。
walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked
めっ
through
ちゃ赤い
the
カスじゃん。
red door.
開いてんじゃん。
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
おお。
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skilled trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but that's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on.
すごいな。Pubg の新モードって嘘つくだけでめっちゃ人来るんだ。
You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game,
嘘だろ。
baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you get 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
これボタンを押して赤ちゃんを助け続けるの4時間やらされるのこれ嘘でしょ4時間もやってられないんだけど申し訳ないけど燃えてもらうわ
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me.
絶対やらないけど
I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable.
電気落とされたんだけど
Since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see.
マクロ対策までされてる4時間は地獄でしょ
Yes. This seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
赤ちゃん助けるモードパブ G でおおマイクラやらされるんだけど次
At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley.
ジャンプできないんだけど
Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house.
新しいモード結構いろいろできるんだな
This will go here. No, here. And then...
これ今見に来た人いたら絶対に俺が英語で喋りながらマイクラやってるようにしか見えないでしょ
Yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. Ah, but you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
お Oh. お。 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 あ、めっちゃうまいこと進めないようになってる。こっちしか行けないのか、俺は。
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
結構普通に作り込まれてるんだけど。
Oh, no, 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 no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one.
ね、次何やらしてくれんの？
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
なんだっけ、この曲の名前。ポータルの。めっちゃ好きだったのに忘れた。あ、開いてんのか。これ新モードですよ、川端さん。
It's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
めっちゃ面白いんで川端雄大君もやりましょうよ。セックスローランドさん。
No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're any wiser for the experience. Which is why, rather than continue to waste my time, I'm just going to leave you here. You can pretend you've beaten the game if it makes it any richer for you, but as for me, I've had enough. So, why don't you get cozy in this room, and if...
このゲームいくらだったかな。安いんじゃないの？なんだ？最初の建物に似たようなところに産み落とされたんだけど。なんだこれ。めっちゃ不安になるんだけど。画面暗っ。結構いい体してるって言われます。顔出ししてるんだけど。だるいな、川端。プロゲーミングチームに所属しやがってよ。使ってんのかあげたもう。スポンサーの兼ね合いで使ってないとか言うんじゃねえだろうな。あ、これ自分です。めっちゃ筋肉発達してるんで、普通に。全然、指先だけでプレイできるんですよね。てかこれなんか続きないのこのゲーム。お。
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion.
さすがに3万使わされたからね。
That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then
だからあんなにいっぱい買わされた挙句チームキルされると思わなかったからな。
very soon.
いやー、スカーズのローランド選手ひどいな。終わり？おう、まだロードされる。めちゃくちゃになってるんだけど。
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
誰かにつけられてる？あ？ナレーターの人ってこと？ロランズ選手、チームキルしたこと言い訳してんの？
When Stanley came to a set of two open
今日ちょっと
doors,
寒いですよ
he
ね。
entered the door on his left.
でも筋肉あるんで大丈夫です。これはさすがに従おうかな。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he might find an answer coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
証拠中じゃん。スカーズがファイト仕掛けてきてる。どうしよう。昨日ぐらい、昨日、一昨日のスクリームで、フェンリルソルの、いや、スカーズのドラゴンちゃん引き殺したからな、パギーで。俺の勝ちなんだよな。なんでやられたか、明日までに考えておいてください。
When for years it had never occurred to him. This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
エスケープあるんだけど。いや、一応従うか。え？ボタン押すの俺。表情変えた方がいいかな。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
何をやりたい？これ、次進めるのか。
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
従ってたらなんか
But here was the proof.
やばそうなとこ連れてこられたんだけど。
Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once
もう
and
従うしかなくな
for
ったんだけど。
all.
あれ、俺どっちから来たっけ？あ、なんか、あ、ここボタンない？ホラゲーとは説明なかった気がするんだけどな。何このボタン？ 4 番。何も意味なさそうだ。もう俺従うしかないのかな。銃全然落ちてないし、このマップ。
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
終止符を打ってこれオフにしろってこと？俺オンにするよ。
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Stanley,
俺が神になったのか。
I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex.
なんかこのボタン関係あったのかな？
Detonation then, let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start.
なんか押し方があんのかこれ。
What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are. A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
俺死ぬのかな？
I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though. This version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left.
エリア来てんだけど。さ、どうすればいいんだよ。頼むって。え、何？え？時間伸ばしてくれたの？ありがとう。あ？2って何なんだよ。
Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in the
どうでもいいものをクリックしてるとか言われてんだけど。めっちゃ腹立つんだけど。教えてくれよ。
Something here will save me. Why do you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? one solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
なんかあんのか？なんかあんのか？
Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a
エ
spoiler.
リア来てる時に
That
BGM
timer
流
is
れ
the
るよ。
catalyst to keep the action moving
オ
along.
フにすらでき
It's
ないんだけ
just
ど。
seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you...
いや、アンチの BGM が怖い。
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces.
ああ、
Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's
やめて
all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in.
やめ
until the moment I
て
say, happily ever up.
車線切れねえ。なんだ、俺死んだのか？おう。戻ってきたんだけど。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
レッドゾーンで死にましたね。なんか、デスマッチみたいに、なんかリスポーンするみたいですね。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he
これはちょっ
entered
と
the
従お
door
う
on。his left.
なんかあんのかな、あの爆発しないオンの仕方とかあんのかな。
Yet there was not a single person here either.
あ、この新モードだからウィキ
Disbelief,
見ても仕方ないも
Stanley
んな。
decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might
これ
find
上
an
行っ
answer
たの
there.
をあえて
Coming to a staircase,
下に行く。
Stanley walked upstairs to his
地下に行
boss's
く。
office. But Stanley just couldn't do
これもあ
it.
るんだけど。
He considered the possibility of facing his boss,
あ、これ廃車か。
admitting he had left his post during work hours. He
こ
might
れ
be fired
ソ
for
ロ
that.
の
And in such
デ
a
スマッチだね、多
competitive
分。
economy, why had he taken that
なんかで
risk?
も、指示中がいる
He
んで。
believed everyone had vanished.
なんなんだろう、俺、オ
His
ブザーバー
boss
かな。
would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he
なんだ、
began
ス
to
タンリ
make
ーは何
other
を
strange observations.
気づいたんだ。
For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
本当
Why
だ。
did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply
ずっと同じ部屋に。
No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh,
マジ見えないもんね、自分
Stanley
の。
felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He
これ
wasn't
俺ずっ
ready to
と
lose his
ぐるぐるさ
job.
せられるの
He
が。
wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
おー。いい、いい、い
Then
い。
he
いい、いい、下ろ
imagined
してくれ。
himself soaring
下ろしてく
through
れ。
space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so
何なんだ、これ。
much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so
ホラーゲーになっ
lucid?
てんじゃん。
And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
大丈夫か？同じ場所だが。
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley.
またアンチ迫ってきてるこれ。
Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice?
大丈夫か？
And everything went black.
大丈夫かスタンリー。
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
マリエラ誰だよ？
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am safe. In control of my mind.
絶対サイコだろ。人がぶっ倒れてるの見てそんなこと思わねえよ。
It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
スタンリー死んだ？終わり？また部屋散らかってるよ。なんか関係あるの？
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
なんかちょっとナレーション違うな。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
右。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
行ってないやつ行ってみよう。
Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
俺はいかんぞ。行ったっけ？いや、こっち行ってみよう。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
よし、降りれんのかな？
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
嘘。スタンリー死んじゃったんだけどまた。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting.
何通りあるんだよ。
He had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to
最
a set of
近
two
実績
open
全部終わ
doors,
った人
he
出たって
entered
こ
the
とは
door on his left.
このゲーム何年前のゲームだっけ？すごいね。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge
どんだ
first,
け道あんの
just
こ
to
れ。
admire it.
これラストにしますって言ってもこれどこでラストのとかわかんないけどこれラストにしよう。この道。
Stanley took the first open door on his left.
5？
Stanley was so bad at following
5通り
directions, it's incredible
しかない
he
の？
wasn't fired years ago.
あ、5年前。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside.
5年プレイす
Let
るっていう実
her
績がある。
back into your life.
あ
She's
あ、
been
その
waiting.
実績があるから5年間使ったってことかな。え、
That's her,
怖いんだ
Stanley.
けど。
You need to be the one to do this. To reach
コンセ
out
ント
to
抜けんのか
her.
な。
If you... Oh,
おお、抜けた。
no, no, you can't. Did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice.
なんか
How
ごめ
did
ん。
you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here. Clear
抜けたんだけど。
as day.
持てん
Stanley
のかなこ
picks
れ。
up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in.
え、そうだ
fade
った
to
の？
white, roll credits.
スタッ
Not
フロール
picking
見れ
up
た
the
の？
phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
なんで俺教育ビデオを見せられなきゃいけないんだ？
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry.
びっくりした、バ
Now
グってん
that
だ
you're
けど。
properly informed on good decision making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
んおお、びっくりした。なるほど。ん
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
何やらされるんだ？元の位置に戻らされるのか？
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
ああ、最初の選択に戻って、左のドアに入ると。
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
いや、行きたい。
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction.
あれドアないじゃん。
Too late.
もう一回入ってみよう。なんかある？あ、ダメなんだ。え？
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe after everything we talked about that my story, you've destroyed my work.
バグりまくってんだよ。
Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever. Reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know.
めっちゃ怒らしてるじゃん、俺。
What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I...
戻ろ
No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
う。勝手に終わらせないでよ。ダメだって。やめてよ。急にホラゲに、ホラゲにしないでよ。
I'm still here.
いや、このゲームめっちゃ面白いけど。
With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine.
俺はまだ行くぞ。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
マジかダメなのか、右。
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
こっちしか行けないのね。で
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
もう下行けねえのか。一本道にされてんじゃん。あれこんなんじゃなかったよね。
Inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it.
ガミングメロフォビアさんかな。はじめまして。
And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath
なんだっけ
and then spoke the code.
これ喋んの俺。なんだっけ喋るって何これ
Stanley spoke the code.
俺
Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
これマイク設定されてんのかなこれどうやって
Sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
これ喋んの ?Night Shark 115。いや、
Okay, fine.
反応しねえじゃねえか。
It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously.
なんか
If you
燃えちゃっ
didn't
た
want
気
to
やっ
see
たの
what
か
I
な
had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward.
喋れねえもんだって。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open
おいおいおい
doors, he entered the door on his left.
スタンリー、
Stanley? Hello?
意識だけが、意識だけが。
Okay. Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice.
え
I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right?
スタンリーこんな顔してたの
The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot
俺
exist
しかも
without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you
エン
make,
ドロール見せられてるんだ
you're
から
both
俺。
correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please.
なんで
Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there?
スタンリー抜け殻になってんじゃん、完全に。
It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
え俺のスタンリー、あれロード始まった。とんかつかこれ。 ドンカツしたみたいですね。一回だけ全部従ってみようかな。
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
で、階段上がるんだっけ？
Yet there was not a single person here.
連ドンできるかな、これ。
Feeling a wave of disbelief,
2連ドンかとしたら終わる
Stanley
な。
decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he'd come into a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
急ぎすぎだって。
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
せっかくなんで、一回、よいしょ、服着替えようかな。えーっと、よいしょ。これでいいかな。よし。さあ、着替えたんで、続きやっていきたいと思います。寒かったからね、タンクトップ。袖を伸ばしたわけではない。外配信。いや、まあ寒いっつってもちょっと暖かくなってきたからね。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
さあ全部従いましょう。とんかつ取りたいんで、オーダーの言うことは聞いていきましょう。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
おう。
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore
これ
the
さっき
number
見
of
た。
an employee
早くしてくれ。
Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
ああ、進める進める。何人従業員いるんだよ。600人いるのか。600人はすげえ
This
な。
mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation.
これでさっきね、
Controls
オンにしちゃ
labeled
っ
with
たからね。
emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the control.
オーダー様の言う通りにムーブしてみた結果が。
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
これあえて外出なかったらどうなるんだ。何もできないか。
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
とんかつ？あー、とんかつだ。
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No.
何？
This couldn't
俺
be
今自分で
any way
閉じ込め
except
た？
badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever.
あー、始まった瞬間俺ドア閉めちゃった。
Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
入れ替わってはないです。あ、なるほどね。これで3連ドンカツなんて終わります。お疲れ様でした。